Welcome back to Wainsider, where we break down the most shocking and game-changing moments in the world of professional wrestling. Tonight, we have something monumental to discuss, something that has turned the WWE universe upside down. The unexpected union between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, two titans of the ring, has sent shockwaves through the industry. What began as an isolated event is now a seismic shift, and the fallout will have lasting repercussions. But before we dive into the chaos that erupted on SmackDown, we need to understand the history that led to this unprecedented moment. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, two of the most dominant figures in WWE history, have long been on a collision course. Their rivalry is legendary, each encounter more brutal than the last. From their explosive battles at WrestleMania to the carnage of their no-holds-barred matchups, these two have always existed in a world of their own. Both men are driven by the same unyielding force, power. But it's not just about titles or recognition, it's about domination, about proving that you are the undisputed force in WWE. Roman's journey to the top has been nothing short of extraordinary. As the tribal chief, he has commanded the respect of not only his family, but the entire locker room. His bloodline has allowed him to carry the weight of the UNHOLY legacy on his shoulders, a legacy that stretches across generations. Yet with that weight comes immense pressure. Every decision, every action is scrutinized. For Roman, there's a constant battle to remain untouchable, to keep the throne he's worked so hard to claim. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. But what happens when the power that once felt so secure begins to fray at the edges? What happens when the man who has everything starts to feel the walls close in? The answer lies in the quiet resentment that has been building within Roman. The constant weight of being the face of WWE, of being the man who always has to be at the top, can turn even the most loyal warriors against you. Brock Lesnar has always been a wild card. A beast who thrives on chaos, who seeks to crush anyone who stands in his way. His presence in WWE has always been unpredictable. Unlike Roman, who has carefully cultivated his dominance, Brock's approach is raw and primal. He doesn't need to play the game, he is the game. For years, he has been the disruptor, the force that can't be tamed. And yet, despite their differences, there has always been an unspoken bond between Brock and Roman. A bond forged in battle and blood. On the other side of the WWE universe stands Seth Rollins, an architect, a visionary, a man who has always been driven by a different kind of ambition. While Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar fought for dominance, Seth sought to build. He wanted to create something greater than himself, something that would outlast him. And so, the vision was born. A new faction, one built on revolutionizing WWE, bringing together the most formidable minds and talents. But what Seth didn't count on was the reaction of those who feel threatened by this new force. As the vision grew stronger, Roman Reigns began to sense a shift. Seth Rollins wasn't just building a faction, he was creating a movement, one that could threaten Roman's reign as the top dog in WWE. Seth had always been a thorn in Roman's side, but now, with the vision gaining steam, Roman felt the pressure mounting. Every empire faces challengers, and Seth had just become the biggest one. But Roman's response wasn't to face him head-on. It was to form a new alliance, one that would send shockwaves through the entire roster. Then came the night on SmackDown. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Seth Rollins, in the middle of a promo, was basking in the adoration of the WWE Universe. The vision was at its peak, its power undeniable. Seth stood tall as a beacon of change, his confidence soaring. But as the crowd's cheers rang out, they were suddenly drowned out by the sound of heavy footsteps. A familiar figure appeared at the entrance ramp, and the WWE Universe froze in disbelief. Brock Lesnar, after months of silence, was back. But this time, it wasn't just a return. It was a declaration. The Beast incarnate had come to align himself with Roman Reigns. The two men, once bitter rivals, now stood side by side in the ring, the force of their combined presence nearly overwhelming. The air crackled with electricity as Roman and Brock exchanged a glance, one that spoke volumes. This was no longer about individual dominance. This was about power, pure and simple. And then, with a speed and brutality that only they could muster, Brock and Roman descended upon Seth Rollins. The attack was swift, calculated, and merciless. Brock delivered a brutal F5, sending Seth crashing into the canvas with a sickening thud. Roman followed up with a devastating spear, the impact rattling the ring and leaving Seth gasping for air. The vision was no more, it had been obliterated in a matter of seconds. The WWE Universe was left in stunned silence as Roman and Brock stood victorious, their eyes locked on the fallen Seth Rollins. This shocking turn of events sent ripples throughout WWE. The alliance between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns wasn't just about destroying Seth, it was a signal that the power dynamics in WWE were shifting. The two men, with their combined might, could rule over WWE in a way that no one had seen before. But what does this mean for the future of the company? What happens when two of the most dominant forces in wrestling join forces? Backstage whispers quickly began to surface. Was this a temporary alliance, a means to an end? Or was it the beginning of a new era, one where Roman and Brock would reign supreme together? Some speculated that this move was born out of necessity, with both men recognizing that Seth's rise could threaten their grip on the top spot. Others believed that Roman, in his quest to solidify his place as the ultimate authority in WWE, saw Brock as a powerful ally in his battle against any potential challengers. But there was more at play than just strategy. This union represented something deeper. For Roman, it was about solidifying his legacy, about showing that he had no equal. For Brock, it was about asserting that he was the ultimate force in WWE. Together, they had the power to crush anyone who dared to stand in their way. And while Seth Rollins may have been the immediate target, there was no doubt that anyone in WWE who sought to challenge their rule was now in grave danger. The emotional aftermath of this betrayal runs deep, not just for Seth Rollins, but for the WWE Universe as a whole. The vision, which had promised to change WWE, was now a distant memory. Seth Rollins, the man who had long been one of WWE's brightest stars, now found himself at the mercy of two of the most dangerous men in the business. The trust he had in his own vision, his own faction, was shattered in an instant. What does this mean for Roman's legacy? Is this alliance with Brock a sign of insecurity, a fear that his reign is under threat? Or is it simply the next step in his pursuit of ultimate power? For years, Roman Reigns has been the face of WWE, the man who has carried the company through its darkest times. But now, with Brock Lesnar at his side, he has elevated himself to an entirely new level of dominance. The question now is whether anyone in WWE can challenge their reign. For Seth Rollins, this betrayal cuts deep. He has fought long and hard to carve out a place for himself at the top, only to see his vision destroyed in a matter of seconds. The pain of this betrayal goes beyond the physical, it's a deep wound to his pride, his ambition, and his sense of purpose. But we know Seth. He's resilient. He'll rise again. The question is, how will he respond to this overwhelming force that has just crushed everything he built? This alliance between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar may have been unexpected, but it's impossible to ignore its implications. It marks the beginning of a new chapter in WWE, one where power, not vision, will define the future. The WWE Universe will be watching closely as this alliance unfolds. Will Roman and Brock dominate together, or will their partnership eventually implode under the weight of their egos? In the end, what we witnessed on SmackDown wasn't just an attack, it was a message. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, two men who have defined eras in WWE, are now a force unlike anything we've ever seen. The blood that ties them together, the history of their rivalry, and now their alliance, have created a situation where the WWE Universe is left wondering who, if anyone, can stop them. But as always in WWE, nothing is ever truly permanent. Power shifts, alliances break, and legacies are made and broken. The question remains, who will rise from the ashes of this chaos?